You are 52 years old when the email arrives. Subject line: organizational update. You have seen emails like this before. Someone schedules a meeting. A manager reads from a document. People who built their lives around a paycheck leave the building carrying a cardboard box. It's time your name might be on the list. You read the message again, waiting for the familiar pressure in your chest? But it does not arrive. Not because losing your job would be convenient. It would not. Your mortgage still exists. Your daughter starts college next fall. Your mother's prescriptions became more expensive in January. And the difference is that your paycheck is no longer holding up your entire life by itself. There is cash in an emergency account. There are investments compounding in the background. There is no credit card balance waiting to punish you. Your monthly expenses are lower than they were 6 years ago. Even though your income is higher, you still need money. You just do not need this particular paycheck badly enough to be controlled by it. What nobody in that meeting knows is that, at 37, you had only $22,400 invested. You had $9,600 on credit cards, a car loan with 4 years remaining, and $1,180 in savings. You had a spouse, a child, an aging parent, and a list of responsibilities that did not care that you had started late. You did not discover a secret investment. You did not build a business worth millions. You did not turn $500 into a fortune before breakfast. You did 5 things in the correct order and kept doing them after the motivation disappeared. If you are starting to build wealth after 35, these are the 5 things to do first, not eventually. First. 1. Find your real starting line. The first mistake late starters make is trying to skip the part that feels embarrassing. You open an investment calculator. You type in $1 million. You adjust the return until the monthly contribution looks possible. Then, you close the calculator because the result still feels too large. That is not planning. That is negotiating with fear. Your real plan begins with 4 numbers. What you own. What you owe. What comes in. And what quietly leaves every month. One Sunday evening, you sit at the kitchen table with your bank accounts open. The dishwasher is running. Your daughter is doing homework at the other end of the table.
Yes?
Your spouse asks whether this is going to take long. You say probably 20 minutes. It takes almost 2 hours. Retirement account, $22,400. Checking and savings, $4,300. The car might sell for $16,000. But you still owe $13,700, so only $2,300 belongs to you. Then the other side. Credit cards, $9,600. Student loan, $11,800. Car loan, $13,700. You subtract everything and stare at the result. It is smaller than you expected. For a moment, the number feels like a verdict on every year behind you. It is not. A starting number is not a judgment. It is a location. A map cannot help you if you refuse to admit where you are. Then you calculate your monthly life, not the fantasy budget where you never order dinner and nothing breaks. The actual one. Housing, utilities, groceries, insurance, transport, childcare, minimum debt payments, medical costs, subscriptions, the money sent to your mother, the expenses that happen irregularly but always happen. Repairs, school fees, birthdays, registration, the dentist. You discover that your life costs about $5,200 a month. You also discover that nearly $900 is not buying anything you consciously chose. It is scattered across convenience, forgotten renewals, interest, small upgrades, and purchases made because the week was exhausting. Do not respond by cutting everything that makes life enjoyable. That is how financial plans become punishment hand. Punishment is difficult to sustain for 20 years. Instead, divide spending into 3 categories. The cost of staying alive. The cost of living well. The cost of not paying attention. Protect the first. Choose the second deliberately. Attack the third without mercy. This is your first advantage after 35. You know yourself better than you did at 22. You know which expenses genuinely improve your life and which ones only make it difficult. Tuesday, disappear for 15 minutes. Write the 4 numbers on 1 page, okay? Update them every 3 months. You are not trying to feel wealthy yet. You're making it impossible to lie to yourself. 2. Build a moat before you build the castle. Once late starters see the number, they often panic in the same direction. They invest too aggressively. Every dollar goes into the market because cash feels unproductive and time feels scarce. They tell themselves they cannot afford to keep money sitting still. Then the transmission fails. The roof leaks. A parent needs help. A child needs dental work. The market happens to be down when the money is needed, so they sell investments at the worst possible moment. Or put the emergency on a card charging more than the portfolio could reasonably earn. This is why your second move is not maximizing returns. It is building a moat around the plan. Start with 1 month of essential expenses in cash, not 6 months on day one. 1 month. A reachable number creates momentum. If your essentials are $4,000, the first target is $4,000. Keep it somewhere safe, liquid, and separate from the account you use for groceries. At the same time, take any employer retirement match available to you. A match can be too valuable to abandon while building cash. Contribute enough to capture it, then focus additional money on the most dangerous debt. That usually means high-interest credit cards and personal loans, not every debt with a balance. Your mortgage is not an emergency simply because it is large. A credit card charging around 20% can be. You list the debts from highest interest rate to lowest. The first card has $4,100 at 24%. The second has $5,500 at 19%. The numbers make you angry, mostly at yourself. Anger is useful for about 3 days. System is useful on day 300. You automate the minimum on every debt. Then you send every extra dollar to the card with the highest rate. When that card is gone, its payment moves to the next one. No celebration purchase. No, I deserve it weekend charge to the account you just cleared. The payment does not return to your lifestyle. It gets reassigned. 9 months later, the first card reaches zero. You take a screenshot. You almost post it. You do not. This moment does not need an audience. It needs a destination. The old payment moves to the second card. When the expensive debt is gone, grow the emergency fund from 1 month to 3. Depending on job stability, health, dependence, whether your household has 1 income or 2, you may eventually want 6 months or more. And protect against disasters too large for an emergency fund. Appropriate health, disability, property, and life insurance, where your family depends on your income. This part is boring because safety is boring right until the day it becomes freedom. At 41, your company freezes hiring. A coworker is laid off. Your emergency account contains 5 months of essential expenses. You do not celebrate someone else's bad day. You simply notice that your body reacts differently. The plan is no longer standing in an open field. It has a moat. 3. Choose a wealth rate before life chooses it for you at 35. Vague goals are expensive. Save more is not a number. Invest whatever is left is not a system. And leftover money has a strange habit of disappearing. Your third move is to choose a wealth rate, the percentage of gross income directed toward building future freedom. For one person, that might begin at 10%. For another, 20%. A late starter with a strong income and low fixed costs may target 25% or more. Someone supporting children or parents may need to begin lower. The starting percentage matters less than 3 rules. It happens automatically. It increases over time. It increases before your lifestyle absorbs a raise. You begin at 12%, including the employer contribution. It is not enough to reach every goal, but it is enough to establish the machine. The transfer happens the morning you are paid, before the money becomes available for another purpose. Part goes to retirement. Part goes to a diversified investment account. Part goes to the emergency reserve until the cash target is complete. The first month feels restrictive. The third feels annoying. By the 10th, you barely notice. Then you introduce the rule that changes the trajectory. Half of every raise goes to the wealth rate. You earn a 5% raise at 39. Before the first larger paycheck arrives, you increase the automatic contribution. You still keep part of the raise, your life improves. You take your family out. Replace the mattress that has been hurting your back for 3 years. But the entire raise does not become a permanent monthly obligation. This is the balance your competitors rarely show. Building wealth does not require pretending the present has no value. You're allowed to enjoy the money. You're simply not allowed to make every improvement irreversible. Once each quarter, increase the wealth rate by 1 percentage point until you reach the level your plan requires. 1% is too much, increase it by 0.5%. If income is irregular, automate a base amount and invest a fixed share of every payment above it. The exact mechanism can change. The principle cannot. Your future does not receive whatever your present happens to leave behind. Your future becomes one of the bills paid first. Now the math starts to become useful. Imagine you are 37 with $22,400 invested, and you contribute $1,000 a month for 25 years. At a hypothetical 7% annual return, before taxes, fees, and inflation, the result is roughly $900,000. That is not a promise. Markets do not move in straight lines. Returns may be lower. Inflation changes what the final number can buy, but the example reveals something important. Starting after 35 does not remove compounding. It makes the savings rate and income growth more important. If that $1,000 rises with your income, the outcome changes again. If it stays at zero because you are waiting for the perfect month, the outcome also changes. The difference is rarely one brilliant decision. It is whether the transfer survives ordinary life. For make investing simpler, as the fear gets louder starting late creates a dangerous emotion, the need to catch up quickly. That emotion makes complicated investments look intelligent. A coworker shows you an options trade that doubled in 3 weeks. A stranger online says diversification is for people who do not know what they are doing. A friend tells you about the asset that cannot possibly fall because the world has changed. You feel the years behind you, and suddenly patience looks like a luxury you cannot afford. This is exactly when you need simplicity. Your fourth move is to build a written investment order. First, capture the full employer match if one exists. Second, use the tax-advantaged retirement accounts available in your country. In the United States, that may include workplace plans, IRAs, and, when eligible, health savings accounts. Elsewhere, use the local equivalents. Limits and tax rules change. So check current official guidance or a qualified professional rather than relying on an old video. Third, prioritize low cost. Broadly diversified investments aligned with your time horizon and risk tolerance. That may mean a simple mix of broad stock and bond index funds. It's not because index funds are exciting. Because they allow you to own thousands of productive businesses without betting retirement on one CEO. It's one country or one prediction. Your allocation should be aggressive enough to pursue the required growth and conservative enough that you will not abandon it during a crash. The mathematically perfect portfolio is useless if it causes you to sell at the worst moment. So you write 5 sentences. What you own, why you own it, how often you rebalance, what would make you change the plan, and what will not make you change it. A frightening headline will not. A 20% market decline will not. Coworker getting rich faster will not. A genuine change in your goals, time horizon, or financial life might. At 43, the market falls sharply. Your account loses more in 4 months than you contributed the previous year. You open the app at 6:20 in the morning. The red number feels personal even though it is not. You want to stop the automatic investment until things become safer. Then you read the document. The plan was written by the calm version of you for the frightened version of you. You do nothing dramatic. The next contribution buys at lower prices. This is what catching up actually looks like most of the time, not finding an investment that moves faster, but refusing to interrupt the one designed to keep working. 5. Use the advantage you have now at 22. You had more time. 35, you may have something else. Useful experience. You understand your industry. You know which problems companies pay to solve? You have relationships, proof of work, and skills that did not exist when you received your first paycheck. Your fifth move is to turn that experience into higher earning power without allowing higher income to build a more expensive prison. There are only so many coffees you can stop buying. There is no fixed upper limit on the value of a skill that saves a company time, makes money, reduces risk, or solves an expensive problem. Choose one income lever for the next 12 months, not 7 side hustles. 1. Negotiate your current compensation using measurable results. Earn a certification with clear market demand. Move to a company that pays properly for the work you already do. Build a small service around a skill you use professionally. Learn sales, management, analytics, automation, or another capability that increases the value of your existing experience. Your goal is not to become exhausted in two jobs forever. It is to create surplus faster than expense cutting alone can. At 40, you change employers and increase your income by $18,000. The old version of you immediately sees the SUV, the renovated kitchen, the vacation your friends will notice. You do improve the family's life. You finally replace the unreliable car. You take a trip and pay for it before leaving. Then you direct half the increase to investments and debt reduction. The lifestyle rises once. The wealth rate rises permanently. This is the late starter advantage when used correctly. Your highest earning years can also become your highest investing years, but income alone is not wealth. If every raise creates an equal monthly payment, you become a highly paid person who cannot stop working. The goal is different. Each year, the gap between what you earn and what life requires should become wider. That gap is not deprivation. It is the space where choices live. At 47, the investments cross $500,000. The number does not arrive with music. You are in a supermarket deciding whether the avocados are too soft. Your spouse sends a message asking whether you remembered detergent. You still compare prices? Not because buying the expensive option would damage you, but because paying attention became part of who you are. At 50, the mortgage is smaller, the college account is larger, and your mother needs more help than she used to. The plan bends around real life without breaking. Some months you invest less. 1 year, medical costs force you to pause an extra contribution. You are not failing when the plan makes room for people. Money is supposed to support a life. Life is not supposed to apologize for interrupting the spreadsheet. So what do these 5 moves look like during your first 90 days? During the first week, build the one-page starting line. List every account and debt. Calculate the real monthly cost of your life. Do not optimize anything yet. Just make the invisible visible. During the next 3 weeks, open the separate emergency account and schedule the first automatic transfer. Capture the employer match if one is available. List debts by interest rate. Choose the first target and stop adding new charges to the balance you are trying to destroy. In month 2, choose the initial wealth rate. Update payroll contributions before another paycheck arrives. Review insurance and beneficiaries. Write down who would be financially exposed if your income disappeared tomorrow. That question is uncomfortable because it turns love into numbers for a moment. Answer it anyway. In month 3, write the 5-sentence investment order. Choose the one income lever you will develop for the next year. Put 4 dates on the calendar, one every quarter, to update your net worth, savings rate, debt, and monthly expenses. Then stop redesigning the system every weekend. The plan does not become better because you keep touching it. It becomes better because it survives long enough to produce evidence. After 90 days, you may not feel wealthier. The balance may barely look different. That is normal. The first proof is not a large number. It is a month in which the transfer happened, the debt fell, the emergency account grew, and you did not need motivation to make any of it happen. That month is not the finish line. It is the first month your financial life started moving without being pushed. Then you are 52 reading the organizational update. The meeting begins at 9 o'clock. Your manager's camera is on. Human resources is already in the call. You still do not know what will happen. But you know for numbers. What you own. What you owe, what comes in. It's what your life actually requires. The credit cards have been gone for years. The emergency fund is full. Your wealth rate reached 24%. The portfolio is diversified. Your income increased, but your fixed lifestyle did not chase it all the way up. 15 years ago, losing this job would have threatened everything at once. Today, it would be a problem. A real problem, but only a problem, is what wealth built after 35 looks like before it looks rich. It looks like a number telling fear how large it is allowed to become. It looks like a family absorbing an emergency without turning it into debt. It looks like a market crash that does not rewrite the plan. It looks like a raise that creates freedom instead of another payment. It looks like being able to say no without your entire life collapsing behind the word. If you are over 35, you are not starting from zero. You are starting with less time, yes. But you are also starting with evidence. You know what your habits cost. You know which mistakes keep repeating. You know that the next raise will not save you unless you tell it where to go. Find the real starting line. Build the moat. Choose the wealth rate. Keep investing simple. Turn experience into income without turning income into a cage. You do not need to win back the last 15 years. You need to stop giving away the next 15. This is peak ledgerware. The goal is not to look wealthy. The goal is to make work optional before life makes the decision for you. If you are starting after 35, write your first move in the comments, the starting line. The moat, the wealth rate, simple investing, or higher income. Then make the first transfer before another ordinary Tuesday spends it for you.